Hello, everyone, and welcome to All Four Downs Podcast. It's the NFL picks with myself, Obi-Wan, and my boy, Hector V. What's up, Hector?
What's up?
What's up? What's up? Oh, man, it's been so long since I've heard that, Um, pretty interesting, that Budweiser commercial. What's up? And they got so famous that everybody got people saying what's up. But it's a lot of what's happening in the NFL because the fact that we had teams undefeated, they're not undefeated no more, right? And those that we thought like, oh my God, they just transformed, ended up looking like, oh, they're the same team like we always thought they were, right?
Yeah.
And the teams that they supposed to be good, I'm like scratching head, like what? So we're gonna cover all that and much more during our picks. But this week I came out on top. I'm very proud of myself that I bounced back from down under. I mean, I hit rock bottom, but I can't say I went all the way. All right, because I did win some games. I went from 5-11 last week to 10-6 this week. So
That's good. That's a
that's
good
that's
turnaround.
a good bounce back, a good
That's a
turnaround.
big
Absolutely.
turnaround.
I
Definitely.
doubled my victories.
Yeah.
So
And you took me head to head 3-2. So congratulations.
no,
Yeah.
thank you. And you went back to back 9-7. So
Yeah.
something's got to give for you
Yeah.
to get into that double digit wins.
Yeah, I know, because my first week I went 14-2, and ever since then there's a decline. Like the stock
Yeah,
market, I'm like going down.
you just crashing, man. You're like that. You're a perfect example of a beginner's luck.
But I'm still ahead of you head to head, so that's all that matters.
Let's not go there. But absolutely, you got me down. You got me about 4 games, if a matter
Yeah,
of fact,
right.
right?
Still
You're
early.
39-25. I am 35-29. We're moving
Still early.
on to week 5 of the NFL, and there's some interesting games. And there's our
Mhm.
first bye week, and the fact that we
Yes.
also have a morning game in London. We're going to
Yes.
cover that and much, much more. But let's tune in to our, shall I say, booyaka, our power rankings. So it's funny to know that we both agreed that our number one team in the power rank is the Minnesota Vikings, and you got
Right.
to give them props to the Vikings. Uh, their decision makings. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way. Their decision makings on not having Kirk Cousins anymore.
Right.
I think these guys knew what they were doing. They knew that Sam Darnold had something, and it's come to show that Sam Darnold, who was also a first round pick during his draft, things were not great, right? The Jets was terrible. There's like what's it? The Panthers. Like there was so much going on. He landed in a team that have straight up dedication in the coaching staff, and they got a lot of support,
Yeah.
right? Something that Cousins had that he couldn't shine past that, and now we see a different version of the Vikings.
Man, Sam Darnold, since I've been watching him since week one, he looks comfortable at what he's doing. He's taking charge as a leader, and it's taking them to where they're at. So we'll see if this trend can continue. This is only 4 weeks into it, so it's still a lot of football. And of course, we know, we're not wishing ill will on the Vikings because we know injury bugs always hit at the wrong time for certain teams, but that should not be an excuse. I'm not saying that that's happening to them right now because they're on top, and take advantage while you can. You know,
Absolutely.
Why you still got your full strength of a roster, go out there and pound the ball, get them scores, win the games, and stretch that lead if you can.
I've
Because
said Sam Darnold's throwing over 68% of completions.
right,
He's already near the 1,000 marks. He should be in the 1,000 this weekend. 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. That is remarkable to be able to maintain 3 interceptions compared to his previous with other teams. But
right,
I am concerned on that offensive line because he has been sacked 10 times already, and
right,
we're in week 5. So
yeah,
it's like that's a lot, right? And if you're getting a lot of sacks, there's a lot of like close pressure on the quarterback. Let's see if they could redeem themselves. Another thing we have is I have the Kansas City Chiefs, the Seattle Seahawks, the Washington Commanders. We both have Washington Commanders. And surprisingly, with them, I mean, this is a team that has been in the basement for a while, along with the Giants, but they have turned things around.
Yeah, no, they have. And they just look like a well-oiled machine right now, the way they're playing football, you know. There's no animosity, there's no fight, no strife going on with that organization. They're just going out there and having fun, you see, and collecting their paycheck at the same time. So,
Yeah,
you know, I can't fault them for that. You know, what they're doing is on point. You know, are they going to hit a cold streak? Yes. Eventually they're going to hit a wall. But right now, continue doing what you're doing until something changes, and then you can change it up. But if it's working, continue doing what you're doing.
I just hope they don't rely too much on Jaden Daniels because it seems
Right,
like he's doing a lot
right,
already
right,
in these first four games, right?
right.
Um, Already passing over 800 yards. He's already thrown 3 touchdown passes, only gave up 1 interception. And the fact that the matter is he's been rushing. He's already over 200 yards of rushing, and he has 4 rushing touchdowns. So in comparison of the stats, he's responsible for 7 touchdowns, right? And his QBR is up there, but he is another one that he's been sacked 9 times already. So how much of those will lead to, like you said, right? Injuries could happen. I will look, he's a rookie, but he's playing like he's already a veteran, which is
Yeah,
good. But I just be careful.
yeah, definitely. Got to be careful.
All right, we have also the Detroit Lions, similar. The differences here, I got the Seahawks, you got the Bills. How? Why is it that you still sold with the Bills being your top 5?
Well, you know, even though they lost, which I already predicted they were going to lose to Baltimore, this team looks different than they have in the last couple of years. You know, especially the playoff team. This team, it seems like Josh Allen is more in sync. He's more in tune. He's more focused on what he's doing with this offensive team right now. I mean, they are just doing things. I mean, they're like in the top 10 in passing. So he's getting the ball to where it needs to be. They're moving the ball downfield. I just knew that it was going to be a bad night for them against Baltimore, and it proved me correct. But that doesn't take away the fact that what they're doing is that at the end of the day, they're going to be there in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in that run to dethrone Kansas City, they're still going to be that top team up there, you know, along maybe with a Baltimore or somebody like that. So that I'm not going to let that loss define the fact that they belong in my top 5. They are playing well-oiled football, and I like the way they're doing it.
The Seahawks, they got them up there. If they could clean up their defense, I think they're going to be solid there in the
Right.
NFC East. I mean, NFC West, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, between them and the Lions, that was one hell of a game.
Yes, it was.
It was a heavyweight match that I wish I made a bid going over because they did go over points on that.
It seems
On the
like
other side, ones that are not going over are the Miami Dolphins. We agree, number one, the Miami Dolphins. Why? They just don't have a quarterback. And it seems like Tua Tagovailoa was the answer to everything. They built a whole team around him. Now that he's gone, the offense looks dysfunctional.
You know, I've been hearing a lot before the season started that they were the preseason to win the East, you know, and I was almost sold on it. But yeah, after week 1 and week 2, you know, it's like, whoa, things are not looking right here for Miami. And now things are literally going downhill. And when we get to the Miami game, I have a stat that helped me put them at number 1 with no hesitation, without even thinking about it. So when we get to that game, I'll tell you what it is. But
Okay,
yeah,
outstanding.
but to me, yeah, they are the worst team right now in the NFL.
We agree with the Dolphins, Patriots, the Jaguars, and the New York Giants.
Yeah.
However, I got the Cardinals as my bottom 5 because the fact that they started looking like last season and the seasons before. Okay. I think that they were hot at the beginning. We're starting to see the real Cardinals, and Kyler Murray really just sucks. That's my opinion. But you have the Cincinnati Bengals.
I mean, you know, I know Cincinnati's had slow starts in the beginning, but this is not a slow start. This is like, are you even getting up and starting yet. I mean, I don't think Cincinnati's even done anything to get started. Okay, yeah, you're 1-3. You got to win. But I don't see that tenacity that drive to even compete for that North Division title. I feel like they're almost out of the race at this point. It's a two-team race for me at this point. I don't see how
Anything
they
could
could.
possibly happen, but I
I
think
don't
it's more
know.
of an ego, more of a contract issue
With
and
Higgins, yep.
stuff. Yep. And
Mhm.
Chase and
And
everybody
Chase,
else
yep.
is like, who's staying, who's not. And, I think that the organization is very, very, how you say it, undecisive of who comes, who stays, and who goes.
And
And
honestly,
that's not good for Joe Burrow.
no, it's not. If the Bengals continue losing in the next few weeks, next 4, 5, 6 weeks, I could see one of them big names leaving.
Mm.
Chase and Higgins, somebody could be gone.
Well, I hope they go to the Giants, but then again, give me to Daniel Jones. But hey, that's me as a Giants fan talking a lot of caca. So let's move on to our very first picks tonight's game, Thursday night football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Baker Mayfield on Tampa Bay, who's having a great season.
Mhm.
And then on the other side, you got Kirk Cousins. We mentioned he was a former quarterback for the Vikings. They go to head. And listen, there's a lot of similarities here because Mayfield's been on 4 teams. Kirk Cousins is on his 3rd team. They both had like big backgrounds, like with undecided, like, are you good enough? Are you not good enough? I think right now, at this moment, being a short week, Tampa Bay has an edge over Atlanta. I'm taking the Tampa Bay Bucks to defeat the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, I'm taking Tampa Bay also. Look, Baker Mayfield, I think he's ranked 4th in NFL passing rating right now. That tells me a lot. And it also tells me that the Falcons, who only has 4 sacks this season through 4 games, tell me that they're not getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I think Baker Mayfield will have plenty of time back there to do what he wants to do to get that ball downfield. But look, the history between these two, the series is 31-30 in favor of Tampa Bay. This is a very tight race between these two teams, but Tampa has won 3 of the past 4 meetings at Atlanta. So that doesn't bode well for the Falcons going into tonight. But I'm not taking it past the Falcons because looking at on paper, the Falcons could be 3-1, possibly 4-0 this year if they would have just cleaned up a few things here and there. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But
Yeah.
your record says who you are. So look, the Falcons like to play close games. I think they're going to keep this game close like they did last week against the Saints, but they're not going to pull out a miracle victory like they did against the Saints. I think the Buccaneers are going to take charge of this game tonight.
All right, let's move on to the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings.
You know, this game is going to be an early game. It's going to be a London game. I'm looking forward to that. It's funny because Aaron Rodgers has success against the Vikings, but we're talking about when he was with the Packers. Okay. He has an all-time winning record against the Vikings, but we're talking a whole different thing here with this Minnesota Viking team. You know, we just talked about, how things are different there with Sam Darnold and everything. He has 11 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. You know, if that's not good, okay, then I don't know what is. I mean, the Jets defense, dude, I think they're giving up like over 128 yards a game. So I don't see why Sam Darnold should not have any reason to get that ball out there to Justin Jefferson and do what he wants to do in London. I think this is like a home game for the Vikings. Am I correct on that one in saying that?
It is the home game
Yeah.
for the Vikings, but I still feel this is not fair.
Right.
Right? Because let's say the Jets do win this game.
Mhm.
All right. Let's suppose. Then we could argue about, well, you know what? If it was in Minnesota, it would have been a different story.
Right.
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 Who
Yeah.
got there first? Who got there second? Who still has a jet lag? Who's this? Who's that?
Yeah.
Right? We
Mhm.
could come up with so much, right? And yeah, and by paper, it looks like the Minnesota Vikings should be winning this game and win big, right? They
Right.
got a
I'm
better
taking-
offense, they got a better defense, and then it's like, look at what happened last week with the Jets losing to the Broncos, okay, in a baseball score. This is
Mhm.
Aaron Rodgers, and I'm gonna tell you, man, this is the blame to Robert Saleh and the whole entire staff and its administration, because the fact that it feels like everything's pointing at Aaron Rodgers, please save us. Aaron Rodgers, please do this for me. Aaron Rodgers, dude. Aaron Rodgers is an old man who is very selfish, and because he has so much MVP supposedly, let's be real, he's not a Tom Brady, and he will never fill those shoes in Tom Brady. Okay. I won't be surprised if Robert Saleh is in the hot seat right now and he gets fired. I really do. He should have been fired last year. He's sorry. Okay. How many quarterbacks does it take for him? Jets are 2-2. Give me Minnesota Vikings over the Jets. What did they say? Yeah. I need that horn for the Vikings.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how many touchdowns are going to happen.
Oh, man. I hope that the whole fans got their horns because the Vikings are going to need it. Carolina Panthers versus the Chicago Bears. This is probably one of my hardest picks because it's at Chicago. But then again, the Panthers have a big surprise. All right. Andy Dalton, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's playing with that team, right?
Yes, Andy Dalton is I think he's starting for the Carolina Panthers.
Man, where did that come from?
That threw me for a loop. Yeah, it threw me for a loop when I saw him. I was like, "What?" It flew over my head. I mean, when they benched Bryce Young, I was like,
but the way he came back is like, and he's not the only one. We'll continue with another quarterback that's making a comeback. But man, I mean, if he continues that way, then I'm gonna have to pick the Carolina Panthers to surpass the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, because Andy Dalton had 2 good starts so far, but I'm just worried about that Panther defense. I mean, they're giving up at least 32 points a game. That's a lot of points. And even if Andy Dalton was to keep them offensively in this game in Chicago, are they going to be able to do it on defense to stop Caleb Williams from getting that ball dispersed around on offense? So I got nothing against Andy Dalton, but I'm kind of sketchy on that Panthers defense. So give me the Bears to win this game at home against the Carolina Panthers.
Okay. I mean, I got you. I'm going by how the Panthers played against Cincinnati. Right. 34-24, they lost. I mean, we could tell you the story about Cincinnati making a comeback now. The Bears, they itched away against the Rams 24-18, but they did lose to Indianapolis. They did lose to Houston. So
and then they beat Tennessee.
It's a split that and then there's Caleb Williams, which I got it, but I don't know. I'm not feeling the Bears yet.
No, I completely feel you, and I'm not feeling the Panthers at this point. But with this one, we had to feel something, right, with somebody.
Well, you definitely felt the Baltimore Ravens last week as they go on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. Despite the records here, I think this is going to be a good game. Because I know the Bengals have won 3 of the last 4 meetings at home against the Ravens, I believe.
Yes.
But their defense, man, I'm just kind of sketchy about that. I like the way Baltimore's got the hot hand right now. Yes, I know they let Dallas come back in the 4th quarter, but the point of the matter is that they should be 4-0. I know record shows that they're 2-2, and that's what they are. But they are playing like they should be undefeated, and just the way they just obliterated Buffalo last week, I don't think they're taking Cincinnati lightly, but I think if you just get a heavy dose of Derrick Henry once again, just keep going to the well, I think there's no way Cincinnati's going to be able to slow him down. I mean, they may slow him down to not getting 200 yards, but I don't see them how they're going to be able to contend with him for 4 quarters. So I'm taking Baltimore on this one.
I think this is a must win for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh, for sure.
And here's why. Okay. This is our contract year. You got Jamar Chase, you got Gesicki, you got Zach Moss, you got T. Higgins. I mean, you got all these. Let me put it this way: firepower. You got so much speed in there, okay? And you can add Chase Brown, the running back. There's no excuse why, and this is a rivalry game that you cannot listen. The Bengals it's going to be a high score game. Okay. A high score game. Bengals will have the ball at the end, and they should be able to take out the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens are hangover status over the victory of the Bills, and the Bengals are going to put them in reality. They're both going to be tied at the end of this game. So give me the Bengals. You got the Ravens?
Yeah, I thought you were saying this game's going to end in a tie.
Nah, not this one. However, it could be on the Dolphins versus the Patriots because, good Lord, just when we thought that the Miami Dolphins, which were favored to win the division, now they're collapsing. You got people getting arrested or detained. Now there's speculations of racism within the police department. Then you have the New England Patriots. We don't know what kind of offense that they have. Both coaches, you got a rookie and you got one that looks like he's a stoner. I don't know. I mean, listen, I don't know where to pick, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to land very softly on this one. I'm taking the home team, the New England Patriots.
You know, I agree with you. I am taking the home team too because, look, they're both a hot mess right now. However, I mean, yeah. No, I'm not changing my pick. I'm just trying to change my thought here because
it's okay. Look, it's okay. You can breathe.
Yeah, I'm trying. I need a ventilator. Okay, my point that I wanted to bring up from what I was telling you earlier, Miami Dolphins. Yes, they do have the one win. However, they have not had a lead all season long. Their win came on the last second field goal as the clock expired in the fourth quarter to give them the win. That is not a lead. You did not lead at any point in any of the four quarters in your first four games. New England, on the other hand, they got the worst defense in the league, but the Miami Dolphins have the worst offense in the league. You're talking about ranked 31st and 32nd defense versus offense. Something got to give with these two teams. Somebody's got to let loose here. I just think that New England is a little bit more stable with Jacoby Brissett versus Miami. We don't know who's playing from day to day. You know, is it Skylar Thompson? Is it Mason Rudolph? We don't know.
Skylar Thompson is still dealing with his chest. So,
right. Okay. Right. So are they going to go to Tyler Huntley? You see what I'm saying? Miami is just confused. At least
just no matter which the quarterback is, it's not Tua, and things are not in sync between them and the receivers.
You're absolutely right. And I'm not giving New England all this high and mighty praise here because they're only averaging like 13 points a game.
Yeah, so but you mentioned something about the Patriots being the worst defense, but listen, maybe their performance, but they're not the worst when it comes to points allowed. Miami has been outscored big times. Okay. I mean, they've already given up 103 points compared to New England giving up 87, and the Patriots have scored more than the Miami Dolphins. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, well, I mean, I guess the Patriots.
I can see this
again. I mean, this is something I won't bid.
No, I could see this being a defensive struggle on both sides. So this could be our unorthodox offensive game of the week.
Or it could be a baseball score, right?
And we know somebody's going to be 1-4 who's going to be officially eliminated, and somebody's going to be saving their season by winning and being 2-3. I know the Dolphins won two of the last three meetings in New England, but that was a whole different story. This is now today where Miami can't get a quarterback situation correct, and we'll maybe finally see them take a lead in this game for the first time this year. They are playing. They are playing as bad as the Cleveland Browns did in 2017 when they went 0-16.
Oof.
Okay. Oof. That's how bad the Dolphins are playing right now.
All right, moving on. Cleveland Browns versus the Washington Commanders. You mentioned the Browns, baby. All right. But I am taking the Commanders in this game.
I'm not going to even argue there with you. Why? You know what I'm saying? Commanders are just I'm going to call him JD. Jaden Daniels. I don't want to get his name. I'm going to call him JD. He leads the NFL with an 82% completion percentage. I mean, come on, man. For a rookie, that tells me he's.
The thing is, he's not even have to throw that much to win either because he's doing with his legs. He got a good running game. The team has a good running game. So that balanced offense, you just don't need to throw over 40 passes to win the game. So I'm glad that you was with me. The Commanders over the Browns.
Right.
Colts versus the Jaguars. Joe Flacco is back, and it seems
Yes.
like when they bring him in, he's like the closer. Okay. And what better to have him start and make the Jacksonville Dragons go 0-5 to push the fans to say, fire the head coach. This is a fire me type game. Colts over the Jaguars. I love it.
You're going with the Colts over the Jaguars.
And more stats because Flacco, remember, he led the Browns to a 31-27 victory over the Jaguars, in which he threw 26 45 passes. He threw 311 yards and 3 touchdown passes against the same defense of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay. He's with the Colts, which is a much better team right now with him under center. That's why I picked the Colts.
I can't argue anything that you're saying. There's nothing that I can say or even convince you to say that you're otherwise crazy. However, I ain't got no stats to back up this. Just give me the monumental upset. Give me the Jaguars with no stats involved to pull out the upset at home to just break the streak. That's all it is to it. There's nothing more for me to say.
Flacco's going to say, you crazy. Bills versus the Texans. This is one game that I'm interested to see if the Buffalo Bills could bounce back after losing last week. Can they go on the road to take on the Houston Texans? And I tell you what, looking at my notes real quick, the Bills has lost 4 straight games in Houston. Okay. That doesn't really suit well for me here. All right. If it was at Buffalo, I definitely would have took the Bills, but I can't. Yeah, I can't. Mm-hmm. But Houston's looking suspect too. All right. I'm not. Listen, this is not the last years of the Houston Texans, which they made a good run. Don't get me wrong. But you're talking about the Texans that lost 34-7. Then that final week, they beat Jacksonville, but 24-20. Like, I understand it's within the division. Look, I'm just going by what Bills do on the road at Houston, and it's never pretty. But that's why I'm sticking with my guns, and I'm saying the Texans will win this Sunday.
You know, I can't argue there because, I mean, C.J. Stroud is, I believe he's 8-2 with 107, 108 QB rating at home. So that is a good formula to win at home. Both these teams are coming off a lot, right? Houston didn't.
No. The Texans won.
The Texans won. I'm thinking about the loss against Minnesota when they got.
There's also a soap opera in this.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs is with the Houston Texans.
Right. So that gives.
Who's going to have an advantage? This is a game where if the Bills win, I told you we don't need them. But if they lose, damn, don't you wish you had them?
Yeah, I know. See, I'm looking at both sides of the ball, and you know, we know defense wins championships here. I know Houston's defense is a little more stout than what Buffalo's offense here. I hate to see Buffalo lose 2 in a row, but I think they're still in a good predicament for the AFC East at 3-2. Than what Houston will be at 3-2 in the South. Give me Houston in a close battle here to win at home over the Buffalo Bills.
The Las Vegas Raiders go on the road against the Denver Broncos.
Yeah. You know, all we hear is about, I mean, all I've been hearing is about Devontae Adams and Devontae this and Devontae that. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're putting him up for a trade, and the Saints want him. David Carr already expressed his interest, and I wish I could reunite with him. That would have been interesting for the Saints because that will add definitely more power to them. Many people are saying like he's best fit for the Cowboys. You know, right? Of course, the Cowboys, they're the Cowboys. However, I think that's a distraction, to be honest with you.
I think so too, you know, and I think Bo Nix, he's got a little high on the shoulder right now, you know, with him beating Tampa Bay and definitely beating Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to say beat the Jets, but he beat Aaron Rodgers, you know, so I think he'll benefit from having a little more strong defense against a Raider team that's banged up right now and having a lot of off the field drama going on. I don't think they're going to be able to get into their head mentally to focus for this game, because that Bronco defense, for some crazy reason, is only was giving up 29 points in the last couple of
Look,
weeks there.
that
That
Denver Broncos defense is elite.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
I've
That's
watched this team, and I'm like, man, if that team had a great offense, they will overthrow the Kansas City Chiefs.
right.
But you got to give Bo Nix some time, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And listen, Minshew has not been successful with elite defenses. There's a reason why he's always been the backup quarterback.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. Hmm.
He doesn't do well against a defense like the Broncos. I got the Broncos winning over the Raiders.
I got the Broncos to end this 8-game losing streak against the Raiders that they have going. So that's a very long time to be losing to the Raiders.
A very long time.
Not as long as the Giants losing to the Cowboys, but we're not going to get into that soapbox.
Oh yeah. I know. But hey, let's move on here with the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Plain and simple. No matter if they're banged up or not, the 49ers are going to handle their business against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, because I think their defense has been pretty stout. I mean, forcing about 5 turnovers in the last 2 games. So, and they've won, I think, the last 3 meetings, I believe, against the Arizona Cardinals. So, and they averaged over 3 touchdowns per game against the Cardinals. So I'd like the 49ers to win this game. So I think Kyler Murray is going to still do his little runarounds like he always does. I swear he just doesn't know how to stay still.
Green Bay Packers versus the Los Angeles Rams. Now, listen, Matthew Stafford, I believe that his time is up. I really do. I think that the Rams in general are just hanging by a thread here. They did lose to the Bears. Yeah, excuse me. They lost to the Bears 24-18.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was a great game against San Francisco. I think maybe that motivation being a rivalry, but you're talking about a team that already lost to Detroit, already lost to Arizona. The Packers, they got Jordan Love back. I think now that the team is going to function, and the Green Bay Packers will defeat the Rams.
I like the Packers too. I mean, even despite the fact that with Jordan Love has thrown quite a few interceptions in his first game back, but they did find a rhythm in that second half against the Vikings. I saw that game and I was like, oh, can I actually make a comeback and win this game over you? But they fell short.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's gonna happen again. So,
but I think without the Rams having Nakul, I believe his name is, and Kupp, that's gonna be a tough pill to swallow for Stafford to continue trying to win week after week without these 2 guys in there. And so, give me the Packers to go to LA and win this game against the Rams.
All right, the New York Giants versus Seattle Seahawks. Giants cannot move the ball. They can't even get into the red zone and do anything. The Seattle Seahawks are on fire. Seahawks with a blowout. Wouldn't be surprised. It's a 42-3 win.
Oh, I believe it. I mean, I'm watching this Giants game, and it's like, how can you move the ball all the way down to the 20-yard line of your side and then just go into a funk? It's like they only play 80 yards worth of football and not 100 yards because they get to the red zone and they just literally stink it up. The Giants have only scored 18 points per game in the last 3 weeks and can't seem to punch it in the end zone. I mean, their kicker should get an MVP award and only be in week 4. Seriously. I don't get it. How do you have more scoring possessions than the Dallas Cowboys and still lose the game?
Yeah, their own time of possession. They almost took the whole entire second quarter.
Stat-wise, they owned the Cowboys stat-wise and in scoring possessions. They scored. They had more scoring possessions than the Cowboys and yet could not put it in the end zone. It's almost as if when the Giants get to the red zone, the defense should just step back because they don't know where the end zone's at.
I think it's more, you know what? Sometimes I feel like it's more of a message like, we don't want Daniel Jones. Can you look at the last couple of years, even like when Jones was taken out for injury, right? And they do a lot. The ball is moving better. They're actually scoring, even though they lose, but they're scoring more without Jones than with Jones in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one's talked about it. I think there is an issue with Daniel Jones and the fact that they need to protect him because he has an insurance clause in case he does get injured of how much he has to get paid next year. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the game of the week. The Dallas Cowboys at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cowboys are 2-2. The Steelers are 3-1. This is a pickup game, and I'm gonna tell you, don't waste your time. And what I mean is, the Cowboys are going to win. After what I saw with the Steelers, Justin Fields, if he's a starting quarterback, I'll feel sorry because he's holding the ball too long. And it just comes to show everything that people said it with the Chicago Bears is happening. If you pay attention to the instant replays after every play of Justin Fields, it's like he's tunnel vision. He doesn't see anybody open, and it's almost like he has to run to get a first down or try to do something like a miracle or anything. And it doesn't fit right. Okay. And I'm not comfortable with it. And yes, they lost to the Indianapolis Colts 27-24. The Cowboys bounced back, defeating the Giants, but that's just the Giants, right? I know the Steelers got defense, but man, that quarterback, Justin Fields, I got a feeling is going to allow the Cowboys win.
I'm going to disagree on this one, only for the fact that the Cowboys could be without Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence. That could play a small factor in the Steelers trying to move the ball a little bit on the Cowboys defense. I'm not going to worry about the Steelers defense against Prescott and that offense. Their defense is legit right now, ranked in the top 10 in almost every category right now. So to me, I don't think they're going to have a problem stopping the Cowboys. It's all about what, in my opinion, what can Justin Fields do, getting that ball to where it needs to be to exploit that Dallas Cowboys defense. And if Parsons and Lawrence is not on that field, it's going to be a long night for that Cowboy defense to do anything to stop Pittsburgh. So as long as Justin Fields has a mistake-free game to a certain point, I'm hoping that the Steelers win. So give me the Steelers over the Cowboys. But
all right, I like that. I like that. Listen, the Dallas Cowboys lead the series 17-16.
Right.
Right. Just remember, we're referring to, and I'm just referring to Justin Fields. I hope he does have a great game. However, he usually has a great game in the first half. And the last time he played against the Cowboys, they trailed 28-17, and most of those points came in the second quarter. Okay. But in the second half of that game, he was stopped. He was handled. Now you're right. The Cowboys are without two key defensive players, but they still got their secondary. They still got their linebackers. It wouldn't surprise me. They know how to play against Fields.
But what about the Cowboys offense? They don't have no running game. They're only averaging 75 yards a game, while the Steelers are only giving up 86 yards a game. That's telling me they're going to stuff their run. They're going to force Prescott to throw that ball that could lead to a couple of interceptions maybe, or a couple of key sacks to put them in fourth down situations to get the Steelers back that ball. So if they pressure Prescott on the passing side of the ball, which the Steelers pass defense is ranked 11th in the league right now, that could be a long day for the Cowboys. So, my wife, look at that, baby. She's chiming in on this one.
Oh, boys. Listen, I'm just saying, don't be disappointed.
Right.
Sorry. I mean, listen, you made great points, but this is the reason why, and I'll zoom it in.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a 50-50 pick.
I see it. You're right. I see it.
50-50 pick.
with the demise of the defense of the Cowboys, they still, I take nothing away from the Cowboys. I take nothing away. But if they can't establish a run game Sunday night, it's going to be a long day for the Cowboys. And they're going to be like, here we go. Here we go.
That is so annoying.
I know. That's almost as bad as, well, look, we got over the Omaha. Now we got to deal with the
Yeah.
here we go.
Well, I wish Jim Carrey was there to mimic all that because that's what I picture in my head. Imagine Jim Carrey making fun of the Cowboys quarterback.
Well, when you say that, I think of Drew Carey saying, "All righty then."
Oh man, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Great. Thanks. Thanks,
Omaha.
Hector. Omaha, right? Last game, Monday Night Football. New Orleans Saints visits the Kansas City Chiefs. I got the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs. I know they're dealing with some injuries right now, and I think they're out with Rashid Rice.
He's in an IR already. So
yeah,
it's a done deal.
So Patrick Mahomes, he's going to have to rely a lot on Kareem Hunt, right? Kareem Hunt, whatever.
Yeah,
and Travis Kelce. So
it's just a mixture of everybody,
which
is okay.
I mean, look, kudos to the Chiefs. They're finding a way of winning. They're defending 2-time champions, but I'm not really sold on them, man. It's like we could be talking about an 0-4 Chiefs team right now. You're right. They just finding a way of they know how to play.
Patrick Mahomes is not playing the right quarterback. I mean, he's already thrown 5 interceptions. So,
but yet they're finding a way of winning.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what true cohesiveness with a team is. Finding a way to win when it's necessary. When your offense ain't doing, your quarterback ain't doing it, what can your defense do?
Mahomes 5 interceptions, which is behind Will Levis and Anthony Richardson.
Jeez.
So they both have 6 interceptions. We're talking about also one of the top quarterbacks of Geno Smith, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, CJ Stroud, Jared Goff, all those quarterbacks are over 1,000, but not Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's still in the low 900s. I mean, he'll break it over 1,000, but you're talking about the guy that's the face of the NFL that's not having a great season.
No, and he's going up, and they're going up against a top 10 defense. I think the Saints are only giving up 17 points a game. That's not going to bode well. I mean, hopefully they got the crowd behind them to win this game in prime time, man, because if not, that defense is going to swallow them whole.
And who's your pick?
I'm going with the Chiefs on this one, but not by much. I think the Saints are going to keep this one close.
Outstanding. Yeah. And the bye weeks, Detroit, Tennessee, Philadelphia, and the Chargers all have a rest week. So we get to see them the following week. And our show, like I said, every Thursday at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have our picks ready for you. And of course, which game is going on right now with the Bucks and everything else. And then don't forget all 4 downs. Not forget, please join us every Tuesday with myself and Joe Aguirre as we make our college football picks, what the rankings should look like, and what to expect on sports betting going on for these Saturday games. That's every Tuesday evening, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the All 4 Downs podcast. This is Obi-Wan with Hector V. Thank you for watching. You gotta love some football. Take care, everyone.
Here we go.
Be safe, everyone. Take care. So stupid.